Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
What's up, everybody?
Yep. Another good evening. Another cold evening. It's feels like we're finally getting normal February weather, and I hate it.
Yes, I know, man. My throat is sore. Well, that's what we almost recorded remotely because my wife has the flu or had the flu. And,
it has been a bad flu season.
Yep. I do apologize. I had several people that were like pumped to see us at the National Farm Machinery Show in Kentucky. I had done said I was going to go. I had several people reach out and were like, man, I want to meet you at the show. I am not there. Obviously, here I am in the studio.
Yeah, that's right. Because I texted you yesterday. I was like, wait, we need to record yesterday because you were going up there. But.
Yep. No. When Marcy got down with the flu, she's pretty good today. Today's the first day she got out. But one, I was going to feel bad about leaving with her being pretty puny. But also, I was like, man, my luck, I'll get there and then get the flu.
Break with it. So did your kids avoid it too?
Levi had it he was the first one. And then Marcy got it, and me and Emerson have dodged the bullet.
He was the source.
He was. I had been taking vitamin C supplements like candy.
Yeah.
I've been on the stuff, man. But so do apologize. I am definitely having what they call it FOMO, like where you miss FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah, like I am certainly in the FOMO state because I'm seeing like stuff on Instagram. I'm like, damn it, I wish I was there.
I need to go ahead and just put it on my calendar. Go ahead and mark.
We'll be there next year.
Yeah, because we had already talked about the Mid-South Farm and Gin Show. I'm not going to be able to go to that.
Damn, why not?
And
I was about to announce it. We'll be there.
It's 45 minutes from the house.
Why? Where are you going to be?
So, my brother and I are the only vets in town from our office.
Oh,
both of our associate veterinarians are out of town, which we tried. And we kind of almost have a rule where it's like, hey, if we're not going to have more than one person out of town at a time. I mean, there's only 4 of us.
Yeah.
And but both of them had something. We're like, all right, make an exception. And then because that's also the day of because my brother realized it, they had to also, because of the flu, move the daddy-daughter dance for the school.
Oh, you were telling me, I think, about this.
And so they moved it to that Friday night. So Drew, my brother was like, oh, damn. He's like, that dance is that night. We're the only 2 vets here. So we had to block our schedule. So we're like, we're going to have to, we won't close early, but like, we might as well close early because he and I are both going to have to leave early to be sure that we get to the dance. Because this is actually my last one.
She graduate out of that?
Yeah, 5th grade. My daughter's in 5th grade. And
damn, old guy over here.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't miss that. So yeah, I just realized like, well then, yeah, that also means I can't go to Farm and Gin Show.
Well, dang, man. Yeah, I will be there. I'll probably go. I may go that Friday because I try to go on Friday. It's usually less havoc in Memphis than Saturday. Closer to date, I'll let y'all know for sure. Usually my family goes with me, but Marcy works. And so I'm probably I may just go Friday and make the rounds because I usually try to go there.
I hate it because I'm like, that's one. It's just 45 minutes from the house.
Yeah,
don't need a hotel room or nothing.
We're gonna start making an appearance. Y'all are gonna start seeing us at different events. Like Bobby, that's one thing we said. We're like, all right, you know what? We're in the game now, so we gotta make our faces at the places. So, but yeah, sorry for everybody that's in Kentucky. Have a good one. Guy sent me, one of our listeners. He did send me a picture. He's at the show and he's at some, I don't know what he's at, but they had some, I guess it was bourbon. I've never heard of it. It was in like a really fancy bottle. It was $1,500 a shot.
Yep.
I said, damn, you need to get 2 of those, man. So
yeah, have one for us.
Yes. Yeah. So shout out to Kyle. Yeah. He was there.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of stuff. Yeah. People on social media that are sharing their selfies and all.
Yeah. If you're there, I don't know. I'm trying to think. How many did we sell out of shirts and anything?
I've still got a few shirts. I shut down the shop page on my website where you could have gotten a shirt, and a bunch of you did. I have to see what sizes.
Okay. Well, I was going to say
shirts. A hat's nice because one size fits all. But
unless you got a fat head. I got a fat head. Sometimes I'm down to like the last like button. This one,
that's a standard Richardson you got on there.
But see, that one's...
Oh, you got 3 buttons.
Okay, yeah. Some of them are like, I'm down to 1, and I hate when I get on 1. But I was saying, like, if you're there, and there's a chance that you have your hat, which very few people have the hats. So, like, if you have a hat, you're, like, part of a limited crowd. But if you got a hat or a shirt, we want you to take a picture of you at the show and send it to us.
Yeah, we'll
That's a slim crowd of people. Like
whenever we get some more gear, we'll send you something else.
Yes. Yep. And the people that I've told we'd get you stuff, like Sarah, you know, I haven't forgot about Sarah with her child, Lincoln, I think was his name, that would listen to the show going to sleep. Yeah. It would calm him down. I haven't forgot about you. We just don't have shit to give you. But
yeah,
we will
need
get
to start bugging my hat guy again. He's supposed to make me some more Hurricane Creek hats.
We'll have them soon. And hey, before we get in too deep, we need a couple things from you. First, we need you to hit that like button, hit subscribe, comment below, let us know what you think of the show, or comment on Spotify. We've been getting a lot of feedback on there. Just let us know your thoughts, what you want. If you got questions, go to talkdirtpodcast.com. Submit your questions on there. We got a couple we're going to answer today. Got a few other topics. And what else do they need to do?
Go to agzaga.com. Use the discount code. Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. 10% off. I believe it's free shipping. It was free shipping when I got my commodity jug.
Oh, nice.
Just the other day. Filled the side-by-side up with diesel yesterday, so don't have to worry about my wife running it out again.
There you go.
Checking out all the good stuff. They're really ramping up. You know, hay season, as much as it doesn't feel like it right now, is right around the corner.
Yep.
Get your net wrap. Check out all the good stuff.
There you go. All right, guys, we got a few different things to talk about, but one of the things we want to talk about, Bobby and I were talking about off air. Obviously, we'll keep this confidential as far as namesake, but it's kind of like the evolution of ag. And, it's funny, we were talking about this. We're talking about land and selling and prices. And today, just because it's been wet. It ain't just been crazy wet, but it's been wet enough that I really haven't been able to do anything as far as like heavy machinery.
Oh, yeah.
And so I hadn't been out to my farm in Bolton in a while, and so I just rode out there today to make sure all the windows were still because one of my semis is out there and my track hose, and so I went out there just to make sure all the glass was still and everything. It was. But driving there, I went through Millington, and I went by some ground that I work over there. Well, I drove by... Oh man, all the solar shit that's coming in, and it's just a bummer, man. They've been wreaking havoc out there. I mean, like literally, this is like 1,000 acres. Like I can't even just say hundreds of acres because it's a little over 1,000 acres if I remember right. But they've been running dirt pans and I don't even know what they're doing in some spots. They've like created ponds, but not intentionally. It's like watered out ponds. There was just big water standing everywhere. It looks terrible, and put in some substations, and they had all these like Connex boxes lined up and dirt pans, bulldozers and stuff. Just it just made me sick driving through there.
You know, a funny thing, I sold my big tractor and been looking for a replacement, and my local Kubota dealership got one back in off lease. Pretty much just what I need. Size, in my budget, low hour, late model used.
Yeah.
You know where that tractor had been?
Where?
It had been on a solar farm, on lease to a solar farm.
For bush hogging or something?
No. And this kind of blew my mind. So apparently there's some noise pollution created by solar farms, which I had no idea. Another ridiculous thing about solar farms. And apparently this solar farm, and it was out of state, they had these big barriers, like these noise shields that they would have to pull around and I guess position. And they used these tractors. They had several of them on lease.
Just to pull the barriers around?
Yeah, and of course I was talking to the guy, he's like, that might not have been the only lease this tractor was ever on. It's got like 800 hours on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, how weird is that? Like,
what kind of barriers are these?
I don't know. I kind of got distracted and never look it up, but I was wanting to look up like just Google images of like what kind of sound barriers are needed. But
Yeah.
I guess it's immediately adjacent to a residential area. And so part of,
I'm just trying to think because there's none in Millington.
No, this is out of state. Oh, well, yeah.
But that's a pretty big
But
solar farm.
I've never driven by that one. I don't know if it might not be so close to a.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, there's the school, there's a school kind of down, but it's no houses.
But of course,
really.
everybody just thinks of solar is like, oh, it's great for the environment.
Yeah.
Well, like, no, it's not. It's terrible for the ground. It ruins the ground forever.
Yeah, go out there, you'll see.
It's an eyesore. And then, hell, apparently it also, in some way, shape, or form, and I still have no idea how this works, creates noise pollution.
All right, I gotta look this up.
I looked it up like just briefly, and I like read a couple things because I was like, is this just total BS? Like, no, apparently, like there is, potential for noise pollution from solar farms. But yeah, I'm going to get a tractor because like looking at it, like I was like, nothing's ever been hooked up to the 3-point hitch. The drawbar, obviously, you can tell it's pulled some stuff, and looks like it may have at some point may have been hooked up to the PTO shaft. But I just thought that was kind of funny. And
That's weird.
I hadn't officially bought that tractor yet, but I told them, I said, yeah, I want it. They're going to run it through the shop. And I said, make sure nothing's wrong with it before I sign any paperwork on it. But
it does say here, so I asked my chat GPT, says that the solar farms, while primarily known for their quiet operation, do generate some noise, primarily from their inverters and their transformers. It says in quiet rural areas, background noise can be as low as 25 to 30 decibels. To comply with regulations, they do not need to exceed, it sounds like they can't exceed 10 decibels. So
they have to use
I guess
those
they have
barriers
to.
if they're close enough to a residential area.
Yeah, it says proper site design can mitigate noise impacts, placing noise-generating equipment like inverters and transformers centrally within the facility. Community concerns about noise have been raised. For instance, residents near Barnesdale Gardens in Rutland expressed worries that a proposed 200-acre solar farm could generate noise affecting the tranquility of the area. So I appreciate these residents here because what they're doing is they're trying to just figure out a way to stop these damn solar panels. But those wiener heads will just be like, oh, no, we got these big, huge barriers. We'll just come pull over.
Yeah. This green energy that's so great, we're now going to have diesel-powered tractors pulling around these, sound deflectors that are...
I can only imagine what they look like.
Yeah, it's like by the time you add all this stuff up, like, and we already know, like, a lot of that green energy ain't near as green.
No.
We've all heard the famous landman quote where he goes on and on about how much oil is actually used to operate the wind turbines and all. But anyway, I thought that was funny. I was like, are you kidding me? I was that's like, it's hilarious, but also not. Like it's also
aggravating.
Yeah.
It's just aggravating because it's
anyway,
like, man, come on.
Little side note there.
Yes. We obviously got to talk. So I thought that this already happened, but it was today that Brooke Rollins was confirmed.
Yeah, I think I misspoke on that last week. She made it through the Senate Ag Committee. She passed there, and then I guess her, and of course the one that grabbed all the headlines today was RFK. Yeah.
Him and old Tulsi. I guess Tulsi got confirmed as well.
Yeah, Tulsi was a big one.
Now, you know what's going to be cool, and I hope this happens, but according to some, like Glenn Beck, he said when Kash Patel, if RFK got confirmed, I'm pretty certain that the rest are going to be all right. Kash Patel, on his first day in position of, what is he, head of the FBI or something, he's going to release the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Says he's going to just release it all, which I haven't looked. Trump did release the JFK files, and I haven't looked into them, but apparently there's some pretty wild shit in there. Like there's some stuff maybe that I think they said it was 2 shooters. Like it basically confirms that it was the government that killed him.
Well, I think the CIA had pretty much just in the last few years had
admitted that.
Like didn't just flat out admit it, but was like, yeah, we're not going to deny it or whatever.
See, and that's where I'm like, man, that's the problem. That's
and there's still people that think our government's wholesome and perfect and doesn't do anything wrong.
I shared that meme the other day on Instagram, and it was like a CNN headline. And it's like, Trump cutting the government down and like, you know, this and that. And they were saying it was a bad thing. Like Trump's reducing the size of the government and the control, but they were posing it as a bad thing. And it showed like some meme of like this big creature, and it's got like the United States map, and it's all red with like the few little blue sparse counties. And the thing is pointing and it says, ha ha ha, we're into that shit. Yeah. Like, so it's like, yes, we want to. I want to reduce power. Yeah, I don't want to. The
majority of the government, or the majority of the population, voted for that.
Yes, yes, that dude. It is the apocalyptic meltdown that I've been seeing. There's a few liberals that I'm friends with on Facebook, and it's like, I'm like, just chill out. Like, good gosh, man, just calm down. They're all like, every day it's like the next apocalypse is happening, and it's like, but then it doesn't happen. And I get a kick out of all the stuff that keeps, I mean, in Trump's words, he just keeps winning. And like, they just, every day they're like, oh, these tariffs are this, and then it works. Like when he did the Canada, Mexico, and all these things, these tariffs, and all of the liberals, as soon as he announced them, they're like, that's it. Here goes. The market's going to be done. Everything's done. And then the countries immediately like complied. It's like, okay, there you go.
No tariffs now.
Yeah.
They postponed it for 30 days or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know, man. But yes, Brooke Rollins, she is in.
It's officially the Secretary of Ag.
Yeah. Yep. What I gotta mention or ask you, because I'm friends with, we have some Canadian listeners on the show here, which I'd love for y'all to chime in, write in, let us know, what do y'all think about this 51st state thing? I don't think it'll ever come to fruition.
Oh,
but
I think that's just, yeah.
I think he's just kind of making a jab at Trudeau. I'm curious, what do y'all think? Because a Canadian that I'm friends with today, he was actually kind of mad about it. And he was like, this 51st shit needs to stop.
I don't know that I want it. Like
I don't. I'm sorry to our. I know that there are some really great Canadians, but Canada's pretty liberal. Like,
well, yeah, that's exactly my thing. I was like, man, if that becomes a 51st state, you know, how many
electoral votes they're going to get?
You know, yeah. Just from that perspective, like, yeah, I don't know that I want that.
No, that's what I thought of. I'm like, man, that might be like another California.
I want them to be a good partner, you know, trade partner, ally, and all that. But like, yeah, let Canada be Canada.
Yes, and again, this dude, he's a Canadian. He was like, this shit needs to stop. He's like, I'm a Canadian, and he's like, I'm damn proud to be Canadian. Which I'm like, hey man, you know, that's your country, man. Hell yeah, own it. You know, I'm proud. I think that we've had some real dummies in the government, but shit, I'm proud as they can be to be an American.
Oh, I love my country, but I don't trust my government.
That's right, and I think that's like the most American thing you can do. All right, so yeah, Brooke Rollins, hers was. It's been kind of funny to watch some of these confirmations because, you know, RFK's was like 52 to 49 or 48 on the votes, which Mitch McConnell, big shocker, he voted against RFK, which he needs to be out anyways. He's like, I don't even think he's mentally competent. He might be worse than Biden was. You know, he would like.
I mean, it's sad. I mean, I hate it for the guy, you know, personally, but. Yeah, I mean, I think he's wheelchair bound now.
Yeah,
I mean, like he can't even. It's.
Well, you know, he'd be talking, and he would just. There was some videos where he'd just be talking, he'd just stop, and he'd just stand there.
He's obviously not all there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Rollins, she crushed it, 72 to 28, which she wasn't really like a controversial pick.
Well, and I think right, and that's not one. You know, if they're gonna. That's not a hill they're going to die on. You know, it was going to be the RFK, the Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, one of those. Yeah, like you said, RFK was the one that they were going to fight tooth and nail.
I was really unsure how that one would go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think anybody thought it was a slam dunk. Yeah.
Yeah. Cory Booker, I've ragged on that guy in the past. He said some really dumb things in his life, but he is a pretty good ally of agriculture. Like, what's this new? Or they're reintroducing the country of origin label.
Yeah, MCOOL, mandatory country of origin label.
And he's one of the like main backers of that.
Yeah, NCBA will fight it tooth and nail.
Well, it's that. All right, see, that bill though is what our government ought to be doing, because there's Democrats and Republicans involved, and I'm like, man. There you go.
I think one of the
bipartisan, like it should be.
I think one of the whole reasons it got overturned, they said it violated NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement.
Well, didn't Trump like do away with that or something?
I don't know. And I think NAFTA. I shouldn't even speak on that because I don't understand all the ins and outs of it, but it's probably a good thing. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert on that.
I think we were getting screwed in NAFTA.
Well, and one thing, like Corbett, of course, anything cattle, market industry related, he said one of the issues they have with the packing houses is, so you got a big packing plant, and if they're going to process some cattle that are just U.S. country of origin, and also say cattle out of Mexico or Brazil or whatever, Canada, before they can bring in you have to sterilize the whole plant.
Yeah, so you need to either be one way or another.
Any remnant, right. So I'm like, well, yeah, can they not just say like, all right, JBS, for instance, has plants everywhere. Yeah. All right, well, all our foreign sourced cattle are going to go just to this one plant, which I don't know if then the way the labeling is, it could just say, they could put a label on that, say this country of origin, and then list all the possible countries. And say like, all right, like this is going to be the bargain beef. You know, it's not going to be able to be labeled as U.S. solely sourced. And then obviously the more premium stuff, they want to be labeled as proudly U.S. beef. Could only come, I don't know, but he said they probably need to tweak it to where it's not that strict, because we don't want those plants to have to shut down like that to sterilize, because then that cuts down the number of cattle they can process. And
so the supply chain get real crappy then.
I mean, that's already a bottleneck right now. We want them killing as many cattle every day as possible, because
I know you need to open a plant.
Drives up demand for fat cattle, and which trickles down to everybody else. But
yeah. Well, it just, like I said, when I see that, because like with RFK, not a single Democrat voted for him. It's like just split. All right, we're going to vote this way, you're going to vote that way. And, I'm annoyed with that, because it's like, man, that's not how the government's supposed to work.
Like, literally, this guy's a lifelong Democrat, and he couldn't, not even one. That's what tells you it was just totally, they were just voting on party lines.
Oh, yeah.
But they weren't, I doubt those people really thinking, I'm a senator from this state or whatever. My constituents, what RFK is saying would actually be good for my constituents. So therefore, even though I'd be breaking party lines, I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah.
But, which I've already hated on NCBA a little bit, which that's kind of a weekly thing here. Maybe not.
It's welcome.
Week.
Yeah.
There's a funny thing. Kind of went a little bit viral within just ag X or ag Twitter yesterday.
Yeah.
So the beef checkoff, they shared, I'll read the exact tweet. I'm still going to call it a tweet. Selling cattle directly to a producer, ? Buyer and seller must ensure the beef checkoff is collected and remitted. Sellers are encouraged to handle compliance. Get the forms here, and then it's got a little fact, graphic. Says, when cattle are sold directly to another producer, both buyer and seller must ensure the beef checkoff assessment is collected and remitted. So a lot of
Why?
Well, and so the beef checkoff, it's $1 a head. Anytime.
Yeah, explain what that is.
So anytime a cow, and especially like through a sale barn, like if I haul a load of calves in, sell them, if I sell 40 head or whatever, there's going to be $40 going to the national beef checkoff that comes out of my check. And then some states have a state beef checkoff. You know what? I honestly can't even say. I'd have to pull one of my tickets to even see if we do or look that up. But anyway, and it's just required. Like the sale barns have to do it. But technically, if I sell you a cow, we're supposed to send in.
Really?
I think generally, I forget, because I read a little more about it today, which one of us is responsible. But really, we're both responsible. Like,
wow.
It's the law. And it's funny, because I've sold some cattle in the country, as they would say, and, some bred heifers and stuff like that. And, I mean, I guess because it's the law, I'm not gonna incriminate
not officially
myself.
Admitting anything over here.
Yeah, I'm not admitting to anything, but it's crazy. And I think some of them that I've sold more recently may have been because I had them listed in some popular marketplaces online. But it never failed. I'd get an email that's like, hey, have you sold cattle recently? And
wow.
do you need to pay the checkoff? And I'm always like, F you and delete. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
I
maybe.
might would do that. I might have sent it in. I don't know. I can't remember. But that tweet, good Lord.
Get hate.
Yeah, I know you're not on X very often, but you understand the ratio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They got 166 replies, of which I'm pretty sure 166 of them were negative,
Yeah.
to 17 likes.
Really,
So
man.
pretty damn healthy ratio.
What gays liked that?
I mean, I guess you can look at it and we can actually.
Oh, can you see who liked it? How do you see? I've never been able to work X real well.
No.
Oh, you just liked it. Oh
no,
my
no, unliked it.
gosh.
Sometimes I don't know. I'm not that.
Come on, you're the X guy. You got like 50,000 followers on X.
Yeah. I think I might have 500. But anyway, it was it got bookmarked more times than it got liked. But it was just, it went wild, and it was still going wild today.
Well, that's funny.
Everybody just ripping. I'm like, damn, like how
So
tone deaf are y'all? Like y'all can't even read room. And the problem with the beef checkoff, because it was hammered into my
Yeah, I was going to say, tell us what this is, because we got people that have no idea. I'm not even real sure why we have to do it, so let's hear it.
So it was hammered into my head back when I was in college, 20 plus years ago.
Well, I remember when we went through Master Beef Producer.
How it's a great thing. It's great. For every dollar you put into it, you get $5 in return. Because they help to promote beef. Which one of the problems is I don't sell beef. I'm selling cattle.
Yeah.
And you know who? And I mean, I know you'll get this, but who does not pay into the beef checkoff?
I'm sure the big boys don't pay in, do they?
The meat packers, large or small, don't pay into it at all. But every time, and so a lot of calves.
So the people that is choking out their markets don't have to pay, but the ones that are getting choked out have to pay.
And the people whose product is getting promoted literally don't pay.
Somebody else is footing the bill for their
And you
marketing.
think, okay, well, it's just $1 per animal. No. It's every time that animal gets sold. And so
Also,
a
if
lot
one-
of these animals get sold, I mean, a lot of them end up having $4 or $5 go into it
Yeah.
because they get sold as a calf. And then somebody might buy that, lightweight weaned calf, grow it out to 600 pounds. It gets sold again.
Yeah.
Then somebody like me comes in to buy it as a stocker, buys it again. And then I'm selling it usually to go into the feedlot again.
Yeah.
I would say on average, most animals change hands two,
So you
three,
could say at
maybe
least 3
4
times, yeah.
Yeah. At least, I mean, some maybe not at all, but and there aren't many guys that are going cow calf all the way to fat, finished cattle. But and if they are, they're selling them, direct to consumer.
Yeah.
In most cases.
But you could say 3 times pretty safely.
Oh, easily, almost. And so then, okay, so you ask, where does the beef checkoff money go? Well, you can guess who gets most of it. The NCBA, North American Meat Institute, absolutely, it is the meat packers.
Yeah.
NCBA is now controlled by the meat packers. And this money, and then they use it, NCBA specifically, to fight against things like the Prime Act.
The benefits the cattlemen.
Yeah. Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act. All these bills that have been, put forward to try to help out the producer. We're literally the cattle producers, because we are the ones who, 100%
You foot
fund
the bill,
checkoff.
yeah.
The checkoff then gives that money, most of it, it's tens of millions, to these groups who then fight against us.
Yeah.
The checkoff is so broken. 10 years ago, I would have said, all right, it's broken. Maybe even 5 years ago, we need to reform the beef checkoff. I think it's so far gone at this point.
Just get rid of it.
It needs to be done away with, or make it voluntary.
Yeah.
In which case, you'd have a tiny percentage of people who would say, "Oh yeah, they're doing such a good job." But
Yeah. You think it'd be the old heads?
There probably are some people that would
They get the beef magazine.
It was drilled into my head.
Yeah.
But I've, thankfully, hadn't been living under
When
a rock.
Bobby Lee came home from college, he had blue hair, and he was in that beef checkoff, and now he has since shaved his head.
No, thankfully I went to a tiny ag school, so yeah. But I thought that was pretty funny. So people were just there was even some ag people that aren't even directly in the beef. It's like, damn guys, y'all couldn't
Didn't read the room very
y'all
well.
sure don't know how to read the room. Like some poor intern's getting fired today.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that intern may have typed out the tweet, but not like they were given that graphic. They're like, hey, we need to share this and remind people. Like, no. They should have had, you need like one person like on your team, like in those corporate groups. It's not like the, PhD or like, super well educated office guy. It's just like the common sense dude. You're like, all right, go run this by Ray and see what Ray would be like. Yeah, just from a common sense standpoint, I don't. Yeah. I understand, and this is what you're saying is probably accurate, but not the right time to do this, guys.
Yes.
Like,
now, how do they require? Is it required by law? How is it required by law for a private entity, though?
So I'm pretty certain like it is law.
Wow.
That's why I'm like I said.
Well, we need to figure out how to get that changed.
I think which Elon's got bigger fish to fry, but if he can ever work his way all the way down to something relatively in the grand scheme of government as small as beef checkoff. Man,
Well, if we get
God only knows what he could uncover there.
If we get the press pass for the White House, we'll go, and that can be one of our first things. Be like, hey, what are you gonna do about this beef checkoff stuff? We want it stopped.
but like, I don't know. And they've been pushing all this like carbon neutrality and roundtable for sustainable beef and all this stuff, and it's all just a bunch of government BS. And a lot of that government, even that USAID money, was going into some different ag groups and.
Yep.
I even saw Farm Journal got like $40 million.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder they have all kinds of articles about how we need to be more. They're
getting paid by it.
Yeah, just follow the money. Who's paying them to do this? But anyway, that was just a funny little for the few of us out there, listeners that maybe are also on X and have seen that as well.
Yeah. Well, that's why I urge guys all the time. I'm like, man. When we raise hell about liking, subscribing, sharing, get this out there, no joke, I'm not even lying when I say we want to grow this thing big enough to rattle those cages. And some people would laugh. Some people would scoff and be like, pfft. But dude, there are shows, everybody looks at Joe Rogan. I know some people personally that have grown shows to where they get, they're getting 1 million downloads an episode. Like, I know a couple people that literally do that. You get to that size. Like, I'm not saying that's where we got to get. I'd love to see us get there. But, you get a few 100,000 people. It's not an unrealistic goal.
Well, and like I said, that was it's 166 replies, but that's grassroots people.
Yeah.
That's just the average farmers out there that, have an X account. Doesn't cost you anything. You need a phone, which everybody already has, or a computer, tablet, whatever you scroll social media with. And man, a national, group like that, and just totally just buried them. I mean,
who is it that we need to? Is it? I know I love RCAF, but I know they're like the real hardcore. U.S. Cattlemen's is all right, aren't they?
Yeah, those are the two I'm a member of. RCAF and US
I'm actually
Cattlemen's.
a member of both of those. Yeah. I joined them up too. I was like, hell yeah, I'll support them. I am not a member of the NCBA. I don't. And actually, I'll tell you a funny thing.
I was at one time.
We got an email on the podcast. I forgot to tell you this. Back when CattleCon was going on, I actually got an email. Like asking if they'd they sent it. I don't know if they contacted influencers in the ag realm, but they did send us an email
from the NCBA.
It was from someone inside the NCBA because it was like a list of their vendors. It was like, if you'd be interested in the list of the vendors and people that'll be attending, we can send that to you.
Yeah, because CattleCon is the NCBA convention. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just kind of got tickled because I was like, that's funny.
It's outrageously expensive to go to the convention.
Oh, really?
Just as a attendee or
how much is
exhibitor. It's like over $1,000.
Whoa, man!
Yeah.
I sent it to you, and I was like, we need to go to CattleCon just to kind of crash the party a little bit. But damn, to go.
Which a lot of people do go to the trade show. Like Corbett is one of the biggest haters of the NCBA, and he's there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I figured we'd be in good company.
There's a lot of people there that are. I don't know if they get invited into any of the meetings, but they're at the trade show.
That'd be the one to wear your come and tag it shirt to.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see. I want to get to a couple of things here. All right, so we talked about Brooke. I let's see. Some of these weren't that great. Let me get down here.
Not your emails. We're not talking about your emails.
No, not your emails. Not your emails. Yeah, I love the emails for sure. I had some articles that I'd kind of pulled on. All right, so here is a couple interesting ones. First, I did see Brazil backs off the BRICS currency, but they're still trying.
What's the BRICS currency?
They're trying to basically create their own currency so they don't have to rely on the U.S. dollar.
Do they already have their own currency?
Or
they need a new currency?
It's Brazil. It's all of them are trying. I think Brazil, Russia, China, whatever all of those countries are, I think they're trying to basically create their own currency.
Okay.
Together, and it's to weaken the U.S. dollar and to be less dependent on the U.S. dollar. That's kind of their big goal. That's why China's pumping so much funds into Brazil.
Yeah.
But it did say that they have backed off on that, but it is focusing in on easing international payments and reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar. So Brazil plans to reform the BRICS financial systems through blockchain technology. I don't even know what that means. Linked payment systems to cut transaction costs. This move might raise concerns in Washington. Brazilian officials stress they're not aiming to replace the dollar, despite President Trump's warning. But a lot of the marketers that I follow, that kind of economists that follow this, they're like, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get away from the U.S. dollar and their dependency on that. So, be interesting. It's just a little quick thing, but it'd be interesting to see kind of what comes down, because Brazil, Argentina, like those are the two that are just, that's who's killing us on the trade.
Yeah.
Like as far as our soybeans, Brazil, Argentina is kicking our butt. And there was a thing I wanted to read here. This was from a podcast called Unscripted. I don't know. Have you ever listened to that?
No.
I haven't either, but kind of made some headlines. They got talking ag, tariffs, trade war, and cattle boom. Dude's name is Dan Basse, or Bass. Dan, it's B-A-S-S-E. He broke down the latest political movements in Washington. The 25% Trump, or 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico have been delayed, as we said. But tariffs on Chinese goods are already in place, with China responding in kind, hinting that the trade war has already begun. I'm just going to say Basse. Basse warns that once tariffs are enacted, they rarely go away quickly, which could have long-term impacts on American farmers. While the current tariffs haven't targeted U.S. ag commodities, Basse points out that China has spent the last 4 years diversifying its suppliers and isn't likely to buy much from the U.S. unless forced by the 2020 Phase 1 trade agreement, where they still owe about $85 billion in purchases. So that's kind of one of my big things. He did say, on a brighter note, he predicts the booming cattle market will continue for the next 2 to 3 years, with cash cattle prices likely to hit even higher peaks by the fourth quarter of this year, despite some short-term volatility. So might keep rolling. Again, he's a marketer. You never know. But the China tariff thing, that's the problem. One of the big problems I see with it is Trump started it, and they had an economist come down from Cargill. They had like a dinner. I remember me and Dad went to this dinner. They'll be having one here soon. Coming up to the Farm and Gin show, they start whining and dining you, and they'll have like some dude come down that's super smart, probably drives like a Ferrari. He makes like $800,000 a year, and he'll break down the economy. I remember the dude came out and Trump was in office. This was right when the trade war kicked off, and this dude's from like Minneapolis, which is a pretty liberal area.
Cargill headquarters, yeah,
and this dude's like he's literally like probably a borderline genius, because our buddy that works there, he's like, man, some of these dudes are so smart, they're like even difficult they're like Elon Musk. They're like hard to even talk to.
Yeah.
And all they do is look at numbers and trends and markets and crunch this stuff all day. And somebody asked him, they're like, man, what about this trade war? And he was like, man, we need it. He was like, Trump, he said, honestly, he's like, I don't know what y'all think about Trump, but he was like, what he does works. He said China has been taking advantage of us, and he said we really need a guy that's basically gonna put a chokehold on them. And he said I think Trump's the only one that'll do it. Unfortunately, I think after Trump got out, Biden then basically took the pressure off.
Yeah.
And so I know there's people that have really conflicting views, but at the end of the day, China they've been taking abuse of us. And I did see today where Trump, basically any country that has a tariff on us, we're going to put a tariff on them for the same amount. Did you see that? Which
I mean, is me having not a great understanding of tariffs. I mean, I'm a very elementary one. I would think, that just makes total sense.
Well,
I mean, is that not complete? Just, yeah. I mean,
well, and that's what Trump said. Like,
is that not just fair?
That's what he said. Like in one of I watched a little interview with him. One of the reporters was like, but what about these countries that like, is this not going to kill our prices? And Trump said, some things might get higher. He said some stuff actually might get more expensive. He said some things will get cheaper because he said these countries will either drop the tariff or they'll pay the tariff. He said, and it's also going to make some companies just come to America. He said it's going to make more jobs for America. Like he has a solid foundation of philosophy on it. But
that's the thing, or to make people turn to more American-made goods where there's no tariff on it. I mean, hey, you're listening to the right show. We're going to highlight made in the USA product that you won't have to worry about a tariff on at the end of the show. We've hit on 170 some odd.
I was going to say, you got a good selection you can run down through.
Yeah, come right. You got a list on the website, don't you?
Well, I got some of it on there.
Yeah.
But there's some. It's not a full list, but it's probably half.
If you want a full list, you just need to go to listen to every single episode.
Yes.
If you haven't already. And if you're being smart, you can just skip to the end and come.
Yeah.
But bring back American manufacturing. And I understand, we hit on that every time. Like,
we don't even mention the fact that it's expensive
if
anymore.
You want to buy American-made blue jeans, you know what? They cost a little more than your overseas-made Levi's or your name your whatever, non-U.S. brand.
And I'll tell you, one of the big things, and Bobby Lee and I stress this too, support companies that support your values. And I was talking about the NCBA doing this beef checkoff. Okay, your money is going to fight against you. Your own dollars are going to fight against you. It's no different when you buy blue jeans or certain clothes or whatever. I used to wear Levi's jeans. I was a Levi's man. 569, I think was the number. And they were donating to gun control stuff, I found out.
Yep.
And if you followed me for basically any amount of time on Instagram, I am a gun fanatic. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to give my dollars to them anymore. But also a lot of these companies from an agriculture ranching standpoint, hell, a lot of them companies donate to like HSUS and PETA and these different organizations that are against cattle farming. They're against a lot of the lifestyle that we live, they're against. And so there are companies, typically I found a lot of the American companies, hell, a lot of them share my values. And so, be wise with your dollar. But that was Trump's thing. He was like, yes, some stuff might get higher. But he literally said, it's fair. He said, if they're charging us a tariff, why would we not charge them a tariff? He's like, it's literally just the fair way to do it.
Yeah, it's common sense. Yeah, I mean, which I mean is not.
It's not rampant in some of those areas. All right, let me see here. Got some. Sorry, my nose. I can't even hardly breathe on my nose.
Damn it, I'm gonna have the flu.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. Did I do? Let's see. Have we done this one? All right. This one came in. This dude's been a really good listener. I've talked to him several times. His name's Aaron. He sent this in on January 11th. He said, "This is Aaron, the row crop, poultry, and cattle guy from Ohio. I've been wondering why Bobby Lee doesn't use silage wrap for his hay. Have we done this one?"
No, I don't think so.
All right, it's a long thing. Here you go. He said, I've been wondering why Bobby Lee doesn't use silage wrap for his hay. I started wrapping hay about 5 years ago, and it's been a huge game changer for me, especially with all the custom work I do here in Ohio and over in Indiana. Wrapping hay early in the season, usually in early May, gives me a great head start. And that is pretty early. Early May.
Yeah, and that is one thing. Us getting hay cut and baled that time of year, you can't hardly get it dry because you can't find a window where it's not raining every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. He said it allows me to focus on first cutting, custom work after that without falling behind, and it really benefits me getting a quality second cut. The investment isn't too bad. If you pick up a 3-point wrapper and a squeeze, you're set. Plus, the benefits far outweigh the cost. Feed value for cattle is much better with wrapped hay. I found you got a big window to work with. Wrapping hay anywhere between 20 to 50% moisture. Wow. I stick to 4x4 bales, and both my cattle buyers and my own stock have seen the nutritional value is significantly higher. It's been a game changer for me. Just curious, why not give it a try? Continue the good work, guys. Would love to meet you all and be on the show sometime. So Aaron is crushing it. We'll have to get him on.
Yeah, and of course he hit on that the investment to do it is not that great. I don't know. I'd love to talk to him more about, because most of the time, even when I'm in the hayfield, I'm a one-man show.
Yeah.
I cut it all on a weekend, and then when my Wednesday day off rolls around, I get on the tractor, I rake it, then I get on the other tractor and I bale it.
Yeah.
And then it's sitting there in the field, sometimes I try to get out of the field, within a few days, but to then have to get on another tractor, swap equipment around, not even considering, it might not be that much of an investment to, have a wrapper and a squeeze, but to then get it wrapped, because like he pointed out, you're really not letting it dry very much. You're wrapping it at a very high moisture. If you bale, just like I do, at a high moisture,
mildew.
Yeah, they'll go bad. They'll ruin.
I've seen square bales that were baled too high, and they're like super dusty.
Oh, I baled some that was too wet, and and they'll go through a heat, because there's just all that moisture.
Well, I had one. I think it killed a goat out here.
Well, I had I've had some.
Or not out here. I'm thinking back to the other place.
And then, I was about to say, you don't have any goats here, but back before the studio moved.
Yeah.
But where, I would feed some pretty soon after, and whenever I would take the net wrap off of it, and you'd kind of start to open it up, you could see the steam coming off of it.
Yeah.
And so, but when you're wrapping it, because you're making silage out of it or haylage, you can bale it at a real high moisture. It's airtight and in siles. And I don't understand all the chemistry and all that goes on there. I'm not going to explain that all to you. But I've heard people that feed it. They're like, oh yeah, and cattle love it. And we're in such a
silage area,
hay, silage, and even cattle area. We don't have any, because I would love, even maybe just try it out, like custom hire, maybe somebody to come do it. Like, hey, I'm going to cut this hay. Can y'all come? And maybe I could even bale it, because I think my baler is set up where it can handle higher moisture.
Really?
Y'all come wrap it for me and feed it and try it out. But nobody in our area does that, and so it's And that'd be another thing, just getting the equipment on this area and talking to like an extension specialist or somebody that, which nowadays with the internet, the world's never been smaller. Yeah, I could probably get the information, but I don't have anybody like right around here to like mentor me and kind of hands-on show me how to do it.
Well, Aaron, you need to come on out here and be on the show. We'll talk to you about it.
But something I won't rule out the fact that I'll never do it, but I don't know. Like I briefly mentioned Logan, and I made it a point on YouTube yesterday. I was like, I'm not going to complain about the weather, but I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, man, yesterday, I was depressed. Like it was just, it's a hard time of year, man. It's just nasty. And I kind of went through one of those phases where I was like, man, kind of just started doing rough figures in my head. I was like, all right, if I sold everything, I was like, man, we can move to a house in town, probably buy it free and clear. If I sold both farms, my house, all my cattle, equipment, everything, probably buy a nice house in town, probably a hell of a lot nicer than the house I live in now, probably pay it off. Then I could hunt, fish, play golf, spend more time with my kids.
Yeah.
After I get done hunting and fishing and playing golf,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
yeah, of
kidding.
course.
But,
of course.
take a whole lot more family vacations and just not have to deal with this.
Yeah.
And so I was actually just within the last 24 hours or so contemplating getting
Just getting out of it.
And I was like, well, and I could just get out of the cow-calf business, and that way I do like my brother, and like he has no cattle right now, so
No worry this time of
they
year.
still got some horses and mules, so they're still dealing with some mud, but yeah.
I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to read this real quick. I'm going to come back to that because that's a point that I want to talk about. Aaron, we appreciate you writing in, man. Yeah, we need to get you on the show. You need to come out here to Tennessee.
My point was, just recently I've been more on the other end of the spectrum. Like, no, I'm going to get out of all of it rather than get into more of it.
Well, Trent writes in, and Trent, I'm sorry, man. I'm getting to this email. You sent it at the early part of January. Hey, guys.
I thought you were going to say like October.
No, I've been better than that. Hey, guys, listen to every show you crank out. Just curious if the Little Blue store will be open February 1st. My sister and I will be making a barbecue road trip to Memphis. Thought I would come over and check it out. Really enjoyed the podcast. Keep up the great work. I am sorry, Trent. I'm pretty sure we weren't. Because right now, we actually hadn't been open a lot because we've been making the tallow. And then we were supposed to open this past week. And my wife got sick, and so we were closed. But I don't think we were open February 1st. If you're ever back again, if it's something that's like immediate and you need to, like, it's kind of timely, message me on Instagram. Like, that is where I'll tell you, like, if you're not necessarily asking a question as much as like, hey, man, are you going to be there this time or something? It's kind of better probably to reach me on Instagram where I don't have to remember the message for later. So sorry, man, but I don't think we were open. But I did hope you enjoyed the barbecue in Memphis. So appreciate you writing in. Now, I want to touch on what Bobby Lee just talked about. So, you know, I've talked about how the absolute butt kicking that I took last year. And, you know, I've talked to my financial guys and, still reeling from last year, honestly. And I think I've even shared on here, like, still really figuring out a game plan for this year that pencils out, because right now I'm still not really seeing it. And, basically going ahead, I'm going to have a lot of corn and less beans, probably maybe 50-50 to maybe 60% corn, 40% beans. But, man, you know, I don't know. And I had one financial guy that was like, you know, Logan, you could liquidate your assets. You could liquidate everything you have, sell what you got. And he was like, you could pay off everything. And he's like, you'd be you got enough assets if you sold everything. I own a couple of farms. And he was like, you could probably sell this one farm, and then the farm we live on, we could pay my house off. He's like, you'd have no debt. And probably even have some cash. And he's like, you know, if that's something you want to do. And I'm like, well, man, what am I going to do? And I mean, now we got the farm store, because I was telling Brock that helps us this. I was like, man, this dude he said that could be an option to consider. And he was like, well, just go all in on the farm store. You know, he's like, and like, dude, there's times, I'm not going to lie, like whenever I'm penciling it out, I'm like, man, how the hell did I make this work? But the trouble is, and I'm sure it's the same with you with the cattle, I still just love to row crop farm. Like, just like you like to look out the window and see cattle. Like, it's just something about it, man. You just like, so.
Except in the middle of February, it's raining its ass off.
Yes. Well, I
had that thought. It's like, if we were just in some weird climate where it was like this year round.
If you lived in Washington.
Like, there's zero chance I would do what I do now if the weather was like it is right now all the time.
Yeah.
Which nobody would.
But I, you know, I don't fault a guy that finds himself in this position and he's like, you know what, man, I'm just getting out. Like, I can't fault him.
Well, and there are not many that do it, but there are some, and not just in farming, but just in other industries where
I'm sure in the veterinarian world.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. They sell to corporate groups. Which, man, it'd be hard for me to sleep at night. But yeah, just be able to. Which again, you know, could you totally retire? You know, you'd be debt free, but I mean, you still got bills coming in. So what are you going to do? And then, like I joke, like, hell, if I tried to start playing golf or something. Hell, that's not cheap. No. I would just end up spending too much money on hobbies, and you have to go back to work. But because it's always blown my mind, like mobsters and like drug cartel guys, like Pablo Escobar. He was like one of the richest people. Like why
just
couldn't he
quit.
just walk away?
Yeah,
walk away, quit while you're ahead. Because all those guys end up dead or in prison most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like they have to know that, but it's like, but they don't know how to quit. They can't quit.
It's like cocaine, man. Just keeps coming back.
I didn't even mean to. I put that one on a T.
You did, man. That was perfect.
I didn't even mean to.
That was perfect.
But it's just like,
well, there you go. See, if I start doing that, I'm going to be the one that's going to get out. What? I'm going to get about $100 million worth of drug money, and then I'm going to be like, that's it. I'm good.
Well, you need to remember that, because we'll come back
Y'all
to this.
Hear it here. Y'all hear it here. Yeah.
But it's like, but then I think about it. I'm like, man, you only get one chance at life. And like, part of me's like, would that be better for me to just, but I also like, could live comfortably. And I didn't put exact pencil to it. I don't know, what all I could, how I could live comfortably and, not have to work again. I don't know that I'd be in that position, but it's just like, but then what would I do? And then, even if it was a situation where like, oh, man, your kids would be set up where they wouldn't have to work. Well, I don't know that what? Then
do you want them to be that way?
Yeah. And then what are they going to do?
And what are their kids going to be like?
I mean, you see the kid, like the classic example is the people that win the lottery and you never have to work again. Your kids, grandkids will never have to worry about money as long as you're smart with it. But they all end up like,
on drugs and messed up and
because then you have no purpose. Like, I mean, I guess you devote your life to doing charity work. I mean, you'd have to pour yourself into something like that.
Oh yeah, well,
but it's like, then what am I doing? Like, spending time with my kids and then eventually my grandkids and traveling the world trying to do good. But I don't know. I don't think my assets would allow me to just do that. But
I couldn't retire. I definitely couldn't retire. But
just walk away and say, hey, I'm gonna take a leisurely. I'll keep a truck. I'll do some trucking. But be home. Local trucking. Enough to pay the bills. Go on 2 or 3 nice vacations a year. Just live comfortably doing something. And man, there's like I say days like yesterday. I was like, man. Why am I doing this?
Yep.
Why am I doing this out here rolling around in the mud, just praying that the cows don't start having calves for like another week or 2?
Yep.
Because next week's supposed to be nasty. We're supposed to get some snow like on Tuesday.
Oh, man. Yeah, I heard it was going to get colder.
Cold, and some of those long-range forecasts I look at are like, which, heck, we only got 2 weeks of February left anyway. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there.
That's right. Bobby Lee and I are almost spending Valentine's Day together.
Yeah, if we record for another, we'd have to go way.
That'd be way long. We got some people that'd be like, hell yeah, man, because we do have some that are like, man, I wish these episodes were longer. But
no, we're not going to quite make it to Valentine's Day.
We used to do that. Bobby Lee and I, we've done some damn near 3-hour episodes on Living Fully Loaded.
Yeah, on your old podcast,
me and Austin Legg did like a 3.5-hour long episode.
Yeah, you'd like to do the Joe Rogan episodes.
I did, man, because I do it at night like this. I would have some whiskey and be about half drunk by the time it was done.
You had a guest every time too, pretty much, and 99% of the time.
So it was I was getting to hear a new story every time. Yeah. Speaking of, I will give a shout out to my boy Austin. Have you seen the show that he's on?
I saw where he shared on Instagram or somewhere that he was going to be on. Was it on Fox? Yeah,
it's called Extracted. I'll give him a shout out there. It started. Did it start Sunday?
So it's a reality show.
Yeah, I don't understand it for sure yet. I have not watched it yet. Yeah, it started Monday. No, wait. Oh yeah, that's episode 2. So it started this past Monday. Comes on, I think that's how it works. Anyway, it's just now started.
Does it come on big network Fox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's on Fox. And Austin, from my understanding, basically his cousin is like dropped into some crap and the wilderness got to survive, and they put him through some stuff.
Like alone.
Yep.
But he's got like a team.
It's Austin. It's all these different contestants, and they have like 2 family members or something that are watching, and they can choose to basically extract them out if it gets too bad.
So they're watching. They don't have any communication.
I don't think so. I
guess we just need to watch it.
Yeah,
but they get to like throw in the towel for them.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what Austin is awesome. Austin's a legit Bigfoot believer. Like he is 100%. He's been on finding Bigfoot.
Do you have your Sasquatch?
No, I need to. I think it's in the house. I need to find that again. But
before the studio moved, what did it say? Like
it was a little
Sasquatch
sighting or search. Yeah, search team. But I'm gonna definitely check it out because Austin was awesome. Yeah, we did several long episodes. Man, he was really an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's in Idaho.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's but legit Bigfoot guy. He's been on Finding Bigfoot, the show.
Like, oh, really?
Yeah. Like
not his first time on TV.
No, he's awesome, man. But I don't even remember how I got on that subject. Well, how did I get on that?
I don't even know how we got to that rabbit hole.
I don't either. Oh, the long episodes, but yes, man. I don't know. Farming, I think about this so much. Years ago, this has been years ago, I'd been farming for about 3 years, and I already had learned, like, man, this is pretty stressful. I had a buddy of mine one day. He messaged me, texted me, and he was like, "Hey, man, can we meet for lunch?" I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" He was like, "I want to talk to you about farming." Now, this dude would have been one of the last guys I'd ever would have imagined farming. And I'd have people periodically that would want to ask me about farming. We would meet for lunch and we'd talk about it. And I did this with several guys, and I actually showed them a breakdown of, they'd be like, if I worked 100 acres, how much am I going to make? Typically, by the time we get to the end of it, they'd lose $10,000 because they had no equipment. They were having to buy everything. But this guy, we never made it to lunch because he was like, he had a cool job out in Memphis. But he was like, man, I just need a job I just can't handle the stress. He was like, I just need something that's less stressful. And he's like, I see you on the farm. And he's like, man, that just seems like the life, man. I got to get away from the stress. And I was like,
man, that's classic. Anything from the outside looking in looks great.
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, man, because there's guys, they look at us. I mean, you have a full-time gig. You don't, in the wintertime, regardless, you're still working. Which with livestock, you're still checking livestock too. But like there's guys that if it's sloppy weather, there ain't a lot I can do. Like I'm inside typically, now I'm doing audiobooks. But there's people that are like, them damn farmers, they don't do anything in the wintertime. And but I'm like, well, I've been on the verge of a mental breakdown for like the majority of the year, so I think I can take a couple of months. Like I'm kind of like, let's try to let my stress levels reduce a little bit for a couple months. It's okay. But no, that's where, oh man, with the audiobook stuff, and we got the farm store, we got the podcast. I'm kind of like, there's been times, no lie, where I'm like, man, I could fill my time when I could make some money. Like I'd be all right. But again, I'm like called to it, which if I really went balls to the wall of the farm store, I think I would scratch that itch of agriculture enough for me there. Like, cause I'd plant sweet corn. I plan to have cattle out here. And, so, I mean, I think it would scratch the itch, but, I'll tell you the hardest thing whenever if I actually sat down and really was like, man, should I get out or what should I do? The hardest thing is giving up land, because as a young guy, or not even necessarily just a young guy, as a guy in the row crop sector, it's been absolute claw and tooth and nail to get the land that I got. And so if you got to the point where you're like, all right, I'm going to get out, and then you're like, but I know I won't be able to get back a lot of this ground that I'd let go of.
Yeah. You're talking about what you're renting.
Yes.
Well, I'd say that's, because I was thinking to myself again yesterday, I was like, man, I know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It'll be spring eventually. But I'm like, do I want to be doing this 10, 15, 20 years from now? I'm like, well, 20 years from now, my youngest will be 27. If my kids, say they got married and moved away or just wanted zero to do at the farm, yeah, I don't know that I will.
Yeah.
Because, at that point in my life, I'm an empty nester. I guess in 20 years, I'll be in my early 60s. I don't know if I'll still be practicing veterinary medicine or not. I plan that I will
probably
still
be a millionaire off of YouTube at that point.
Yeah. And then I won't be able to quit.
Then you won't be able to quit. Yeah.
But like, man. And so it's like, I could very well see, and again, farming's my side gig right now anyway, but, where I say, no, I don't make nearly enough money at it.
Yeah.
Especially not, and then I'm like, well, I could quit doing, feeding the cattle out to finish, because, man, that's labor intensive right now.
Yeah.
I could quit doing the cow calf, and I could say, all right, I'm not going to have any cattle except for, just the grazing season, do the stockers, not have to worry about having any hay. What little bit of hay I might need, I could so much cheaper buy at that point than trying to do it on my own. But then being able to turn loose of it, just because, you do let it become your identity to an extent.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, because, it ties me down. My wife, we and I kind of left it up to her. I didn't say we wouldn't do it, but spring break's coming up here in, a month exactly. Our kids will be on spring break, and I had spoke somebody just to go on a trip. It's like, she's like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I can go. And I made a point. I was like, no, I'm not going to let the farm keep me from going and doing things with family. But man, it was like, and finally, I think she's pretty much decided, which my daughter's playing softball both weekends, so we were only going to be able to go for a few days. I was like, man, that's going to be, I got my feeder steers, had to be fed twice a day.
Yeah.
All right, I can get somebody to do that. We're going to be having calves. All right. I'm really anal about how close I watch them, but I can get somebody to help watch that. We're planning on buying a bunch of stocker calves here before the end of the month, which I don't know. Once the weather gets better, I'm going to keep pushing that back.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. There will not be a busier time possible on the farm. It's like, man, for no more money than I'm really making on it, is it worth it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, well,
I don't know that I'll still be doing it the same capacity I am when I'm in my 50s, but if either one of my kids want to come back, well, hell yeah. Mom and I are headed to the beach for a week.
Yeah.
It's February.
Yeah.
We're getting the heck out of here. Y'all, hold down the fort till we get back.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, my wife and her side of the family, they're lake goers. They got a lake house. Her parents have a lake house. They love going to the lake. I never go to the lake. I can't go to the lake.
Well, I'll tell you what you need to do, and I was not for it at all when we put it in the swimming pool. We've had the swimming pool less than a year, but we basically built a lake in our backyard. More or less. Not actually.
At some point, we'll have one.
But it's like, and my wife's looking at totally redoing our outdoor space, because she did a lot last year. We did a lot.
Yeah.
But totally doing more of an outdoor kitchen. I'm like, look, that's more money we need to spend. We've already spent a boatload of money on pool, but because we don't get away as much as a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Because the farm does. Because I can, during the summer, I loved it because, come home from work, or, if it's a day where I'm out on the farm, I'm not in the vet clinic, get off the tractor,
hop in the pool.
Fire up the grill, crack open a cold one.
Yep. Kids
are swimming. We got some 90s country playing on through the turtle box.
Yeah.
Sitting there just,
Well, it is a...
Because, we can't get away to the lake for 3 or 4 days.
No.
Two or three times a month.
That was an early thing that, was kind of I guess in our relationship, because whenever me and Marcy got together, I was a machinist. When we started dating, actually, I'll tell you, I don't know if I've ever shared this on here, but Bobby Lee knows this. when me and her started dating,
You had like 3 other girlfriends too.
Yes, they were all prostitutes. Actually,
You had to pay them.
I had to pay them to be my girlfriends. It was expensive as hell, you know. But no, but at the time that me and her got together, I was selling. I would help some on the farm, and I would sell scrap iron. And I had an agent in Memphis, and I was trying to be in the movies. Yeah. When Marcy and I got together, I was working on local films and stuff. You know, you'd go work. I'd be on a set for 12 hours and get like $75 for the day. And I was like, nice. But then I went to tech school, then became a machinist, and I did that. And a machinist, you know, I worked a lot of overtime, but I knew my hours, and I didn't enjoy my job, but also I had a guaranteed paycheck. I knew how much I was making. I never was stressing. I didn't stress about the bills because I knew how much I had. I knew how much I could spend because I knew how much I was going to make. We could go to the lake because I knew when I'd be off. I knew like all that was easy stuff. So we actually got married. And as soon as we got married, I bought our first farm and I quit machining and became a farmer. And so it was just total upheaval of what I had been doing. And
I haven't been back to the lake since.
I've been to my kids are like, you never go to the lake. And you know, they love going to the lake, which look, I'll admit, and Marcy knows, I'm not a lake guy. I honestly don't enjoy it a whole lot. I don't like relaxing. I'm too high strung to relax. And maybe if I wasn't
you get
farming,
to the lake house and you get on the lawnmower.
I want to.
Start mowing the grass.
I'd rather do that than like go sit out and do nothing. But again, if I got,
we need to bring Logan more often. Dude.
Yeah, man, he gets so much stuff done.
He built a new deck.
Yeah, but I'm like, when I go somewhere to relax, all I think about is the things that I need to be back doing.
Yeah,
and so that's where I'm like, you know, that is the thing. I think like, all right, my kids, they actually turn 7 in 3 days. And, you know, I do think because they go and make great memories at the lake. And it's like, shit, I'm not there. I mean, when they're at the lake, I'm in a sprayer. I'm in a planter or I'm in a sprayer. And, I mean, we do a ton of stuff together. They come to the field. I'll go. I never miss any of their, like, games. They play basketball and cheer. I never miss any of that stuff. But it's like, man, you know, yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't know. There's trying to. You're sacrificing for anything, whatever it is that you want to do. I think finding out like, all right, is the sacrifice, what sacrifice is worth it? And you know, the thing I think about with the farm, if I were to say, okay, I'm going to get out of it today, Levi does love the farm and the tractors and all that. And I'm kind of the same as you. If by the time Levi's in his 20s and I'll be in my 50s or maybe 60 or something, I don't know. But by the time I get there, if he's like, you know, I don't want to farm. Like, honestly, at that point, I might would be like, well, you know, maybe I'll just, if assuming I'm still able to keep trucking, I might would just quit. It's like, man, you know, I've built like in my eyes, I'm trying to build this thing. I'm trying to survive because one, I want to make a good living. But two, it's like, well, I want my kid, or Emerson, even if she wants to farm, girls farm too. I want them to have the opportunity to kind of step into an operation that's a little more established. And so they're not like starting from square one, so that when we have a year like 2024 that just kicks everybody's ass, I know some people that it didn't kick their ass. Those people own land that's paid for because their grandfather or their father did that. So I don't know, man. It's definitely thoughts, because the other part on right now, you could get out, you could liquidate your assets, you could make money. Let's say you have another bad year in a row. And then it's like, okay, now we got to liquidate your assets and sell everything just to try to pay off the debt. And then you can do that and you're still not going to be out of debt, but you can get out. Like, you know, like you basically, at that point, you just lose. So I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough in ag. I think a lot of people looking in don't understand, don't realize that. I know they don't. Like I said, I've talked about on here on social media, people talking about farmers, and a lot of people are really clueless to how it really is. So, I mean, the stress level is just insane. It's off the charts.
Yeah, it certainly can be. Yeah, we went down some paths tonight. I really didn't.
I know. We had several more emails, but
you talked about that podcast that was called Unscripted. This is definitely unscripted.
By God, it is. Yes, it is. We got real heavy on you guys here at the end. Do you want to cue up the man?
Cue up the man. He is still the man.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
All right. Who did the one last week? I don't remember.
I believe I did Freeze Miser, didn't I?
That's right. You did. You did. Let me see. I had taken a picture. Okay, I think this was. I'm almost certain. Let me Google this real quick just to double check, because somebody will be like, "That is not made in the USA." All right. Well, their website's got a lot going on right here. Oh, okay. So this, I just noticed this the other day. I was using a level, just a good old fashioned level. Like I was hanging mirrors in the house.
There you go.
And I got this was the long one. I don't know. It'd probably be the 24 inch orange level. It's got the 3 different little gauges on there. You can do the side, the angle, and all that. And it's by Johnson. It's just johnsonlevel.com. And I think they have tools that are not made in USA. I think. Well, I don't know. Hell, look at this. Like, I'm going down the list. They've got at the bottom here, made in USA. And it's got all their made in USA levels and stuff on here. And it's an awesome level.
All kinds of good tools.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's like not a sexy item, a level, but it's something, man, I use a level quite a bit.
Man, we need to share some of the very practical items as well. Like the Freeze Miser last week. Yeah, nothing sexy about having a spigot that keeps your water line from freezing. Not as cool as a pair of like Anderson Bean cowboy boots or whatever.
True.
But yeah, you gotta have. That's something. Every household needs one.
You do. You need a level, and you might as well buy an American-made one.
Yep.
And they're bright orange. Like, you're not going to lose that thing. So yeah, get you a Johnson level. You can get it at johnsonlevel.com. I mean, I think it's the one that I'm sure I bought it probably at like Lowe's or Home Depot or something. Or maybe had ads. But I'd check your local hardware store. They probably got one from Johnson, because they're a household name in that stuff. So check them out. While you're doing that, you also need to leave us a rating and review. Share this with your friends, guys. We harp on it. Again, we're trying to rattle those cages. Bobby Lee and I ain't going nowhere. Even if things got bleak, and I feel like at this point we got the farming chops. We could talk just about anything ag. So we're here to stay. But share this.
Yeah, if we both quit farming, we just have to have more actual farmers in here to interview.
That's right. We'd have more guests. And if y'all just would share this enough, we could make enough money off of this. It would supplement the farm, and then we wouldn't have as much stress, and we wouldn't have to, we wouldn't worry.
We wouldn't have to have these conversations.
That's right. We'd be like, well,
kind of like if I ever made $1 million on YouTube, I'd be like, well, I can't quit farming. Yeah,
that's right.
If we were making $1 million on the podcast, I'd be like, well, we got to keep farming.
Got to keep farming just for this.
Just so we can, yeah.
At this point, I can just enjoy farming.
Yeah.
So
who cares if I lose 100,000? I'm making plenty on the podcast. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. One day. So share it, and
yeah, go to agzaga.com. They are your online ag retailer. Yeah, check them out. We mentioned all the different things they've got. I don't even know what all they've got, but you need anything, check with them. Use that discount code. Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. Everything's on sale when you use that code.
That's right. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.